We all dream of fame and success, but not all our dreams come true. What makes our achievers' dreams come true? Our guest today is celebrity millionaire James Caan, the gentle dragon of Dragon's Den. Let's talk to him about his journey to success. James, you're a hero to some, an inspiration to many. Of course, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the UK, and the gentle dragon from the den. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So James, you're a self-confessed millionaire. What did you spend your first million on?
What did I spend my first million? I think like a lot of people, my passion was cars. And I'd always had an ambition to own a convertible Rolls Royce, which I always assumed was the first exuberance of luxury that you should engage in. So at the age of 26, I ended up buying a car that was worth more than my house. So that was a bit ridiculous, but that was what I did.
Of course. And you didn't get any stick for that from your wife?
I didn't actually tell them how much it cost because I knew I'd get a bit of a lecture.
Yes.
And when my father came for lunch one Sunday and saw the car outside the house, he fell in love with the car and he must have asked me 20 times, how much is it? And I just couldn't, I didn't have the heart to tell him it cost more than the house. So I just said, Dad, you shouldn't ask these questions. It's just a lovely car. Let me take you for a spin. But it was okay. So I had my moments of luxury at that point.
So what's this thing with boys and big cars?
Boys and big cars, I think it just goes with the territory, really, I think.
And what's the territory?
The territory is that if you feel that you've achieved something, that you need those toys. I think toys for boys are absolutely where it's at.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never stopped since, really.
You need to mark the territory.
Clearly.
Oh, clearly. Now, moving on. When you talk, you give the impression of someone who's had a university education. However,
really?
Yes.
I hadn't noticed.
You didn't know that?
I did not notice that.
But of course, you left, you didn't even complete your O-levels. You left school very early.
Yeah, I was a bit keen.
You're a bit keen, exactly. So, James, why did you give up on your education?
Because I thought at the time I knew what I wanted to do. I'd already made up my mind. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And mentally, I just assume if you know what you're going to do, will the O-levels or the A-levels or the degree, will it make any difference if I know where I'm going? And from a very early age, I was incredibly determined.
What's early?
Early would have been 12.
So at 12, you knew?
I knew then, clearly.
Really? And you didn't think that perhaps you were being a bit immature, a bit childish?
At 12, you're generally not very mature, but I understand your point.
Now, some may call leaving home at your age a brave move. Others may think it was a reckless move. In retrospect, do you think you made the right decision?
I left school at 16 and left home at 16 too. And when I look at children today, at the age of 16, I think, my God, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Because at 16, you don't even know where the front door is, let alone be able to fend for yourself and earn for yourself. And I think a lot of Asian boys certainly are overly pampered by their mothers. And I was no different. So I think that when I look back and think, I left school and left home at 16, I'm quite surprised at myself. But at the time, there was that burning something in me that said, I really want to do this. And so I did. I was a bit of a maverick.
But your parents weren't happy?
My parents weren't happy.
That, of course, they weren't happy that you were leaving home.
No, they were not happy.
So you were the black sheep of your family? Initially? I
was the maverick.
Okay.
I was the maverick.
So do you have any guilt now that perhaps you hurt their feelings when you left at 16?
In hindsight, I've looked back on my life. I don't regret anything I've done. I think at the time, each decision made sense. And with hindsight, you may do lots of different things. But certainly from my own experience, I think if I hadn't have done what I did then, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I may never have started my own business. I may not have done the things that I've done.
So your life would have taken a different course if you'd stayed back. And I'm very
happy with life as it is, thank you.
So James, you came from humble beginnings, but you have this really deep craving for success. Who inspired you?
My father was my real inspiration. Right from the beginning, I think he, to me, personified what being successful was about. He was incredibly hardworking, really ambitious, very driven, very motivated. And, you know, he made an honest living, and he did it the hard way. And I think when you want to be successful, so many people today constantly look for that shortcut. And I think he illustrated to me that there are no shortcuts to success. You have to be driven, you have to be motivated, and above all, you have to believe in yourself. And, you know, he would be, without a doubt, even to this day, I would certainly mentally position him as the mentor.
Now, you seem to have rushed everything in your life. You left school too early, you left home too early.
I certainly don't think I've rushed anything.
And then...
I think I'm very calm, collected, very considered.
But don't you think you left school early? Because you
really.
did leave your school early, and you did leave home quite early.
Yes, I did, but I did go on and do my education at Harvard Business School.
Of course you did.
I may have left a bit early, but I certainly made it up. So I have no regrets, Sadia, thank you.
No, we're not going there. We are saying that you left, those two, and then you got married very young. So...
Did I get married very young?
Yes, you did.
Really?
In your early 20s, wasn't it?
I think when the right person comes alongside it, it's never too early for the right person, yes.
But James, you come across someone who wants to live life to the fullest. So one would...
I don't know where people get that impression from.
But you do.
Really? I think I'm pretty relaxed, pretty easygoing.
And you don't like to live life to the fullest?
I think I do it anyway.
You do it anyway.
Well, but I don't project that.
Well, that's the projection people like me and,
okay.
Your viewers do get.
Okay.
Which is a good projection.
Okay, so
it's a positive one.
Shall I tone it down a bit then?
Yes, I think that would
Maybe
be nice.
Maybe I'll cut the scarf out.
But coming back to my point, you want to live life to the fullest. So one would have thought that you would have perhaps married later in life, because obviously with marriage comes responsibilities, children, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
In retrospect, do you think you would have married slightly later in life?
I mean, I've been married for 28 years now.
Yes.
So I think clearly she was the one, really. And so, no, I don't think I have any regrets, really. No regrets. I'm one of these people in life. I don't look back, Sadia. I only look forward.
You only look forward.
Yeah, because they're the things that I can influence, but I can't change what's happened.
Now, James, a lot of people wonder, why is it that you can't speak the language?
I think my English is outstanding, thank you. I have no regrets of my English. What's wrong with my English?
I did think that your parents were from here, No, but seriously, why can't you speak the language? Because your parents
Sadia, I'm really confused. What's wrong with my language?
Your English is impeccable.
Okay.
But
there's another language.
But your mother tongue is Urdu or Punjabi.
Yes, that's right. Well, when I left Pakistan, I was only 2.
Yes.
And generally, when you're 2, your vocabulary isn't great. You may have not have noticed, but normally 2-year-olds are not as eloquent.
Ouch, James! Ouch!
No, so I left at a very young age, and when I arrived in England, my parents felt that we just arrived in this new country, and it was really important to learn the local language. And so we were very encouraged to speak in English. And, I must say, I think my English is pretty good. So I have no regrets. Yeah. The other one, because I didn't live in Pakistan, I didn't grow up in Pakistan, I didn't go to school there. So I didn't have that opportunity. And
but you do get by when you're in Pakistan. You do speak a little Urdu.
I do, thank you, yes.
Yes.
Bilkul theek-thaak bolta hu.
Bilkul theek-thaak bolta hu.
Is that
excellent.
okay?
Not bad at all.
There you go.
So the Asian media has given you a bit of stick for changing your name from Nazim to James.
I hadn't noticed.
You
but
didn't.
You obviously read more than I do.
Clearly. So do you think it was really that big a deal?
I changed my name nearly 35 years ago, so a long, long time ago. And at the time, it seemed like a bit of fun. At the time, it wasn't very serious. I was 16, I'd gone to see a movie, I saw this great actor called James Caan, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be fun to be called James Caan?
If you'd seen Top Gun, you would have been Tom Cruise.
I would have been Tom Cruise, and you know what? And you would have been calling me Tommy today.
Yes.
But I didn't see Top Gun. So I went to see the movie, and I just thought it would be good fun, and I thought, it would last 2 weeks, or maybe 3. I didn't expect it to last 30 years, but it did. And it's one of those things. Do I regret it? No, I don't.
No, I think James suits you better than Nazim anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, we're being kind now.
Yes, it's moving along rather nicely.
Yes, it is. Now, James, you've inspired many British Asians. How do you feel being a role model?
You know, I don't think one generally feels like a role model. You just do what you think is right. And, you know, I do feel that, you know, a lot of the British Pakistanis or the Asians, you know, in England, I suppose anywhere in the world, you know, do want to look up to somebody that they think that's done well. And, you know, if that inspires people, you know, that really makes me happy. But to a large extent, you know, I get on with my own life. I do the things that I think are important to me. So I don't really think about it very much.
And how did Dragon's Den change your life?
You know, Dragons just happened out of the blue. I never, ever considered doing television or being a TV celebrity. It never, ever crossed my mind. You know, I'm a businessman first. I'm an entrepreneur. And I love being in business. It absolutely enthralls me doing what I do. But just one day, out of the blue, the BBC called and said, we do this show called Dragon's Den, and we're thinking of changing one of the dragons, and we'd love to have you on the show. And I thought, wow.
But did the BBC ever tell you why, amongst all the other Asians who are also millionaires in the UK, why you? Was there something? What was the X factor?
I think that what I do for a living is what I was doing in Dragon's Den. So I think they specifically wanted somebody who invests in people because they had a retail guy, they had a telecoms guy, they had a leisure person. So I think what I brought to the show was quite unique, somebody specifically who's highly focused on investing in people. And that was my reputation. And I'd built a number of businesses before I did Dragon's Den.
Yes.
So I went along and I did the show. I met all the other dragons and we had an absolute ball. It was so much fun seeing some of those crazy people with those crazy ideas. I just thought it'd be really fun to do. And I didn't really consider the business impact or the TV impact because I had no experience. And, you know, when the program aired on TV, it was like, oh my God, you know.
I have arrived.
You know, all of a sudden you can't walk into a restaurant, you can't walk down the street. I mean, it really has changed my life because I don't do a lot of the things that I would have done before. But you know what? It's been an incredible journey, and I would never change it.
Now, you had a very aggressive PR campaign during the time you were in Dragons. Literally, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing you, James. You'd be in the tube station, you pick up the metro, there's James. You go somewhere, there's James. And of course, the book. James was everywhere. What was the strategy behind the PR campaign?
Do you know, I think when you become...
You wanted to be in the hearts and minds of everyone?
You know, I think it was just more to do... The BBC has a relentless media department because they want to promote their show. They want to promote the dragons because the dragons are the inspiration. And I think it was more to do that the media, I think, took a liking to me because I think it's hard to get PR if they don't think it sells newspapers or magazines. I just think I was at the right place at the right time. And, you know, it worked, really. But I don't think there was this strategy or some preconceived plan.
You didn't want to replace Alan Sugar or anything like that?
No, I think, you know, there's a place for Alan and I think there's a place for James, clearly. And I'm very happy with the place I'm at.
Okay. We've been having a real fun chat with James Caan. But we'll go for a little break. See you shortly.